So last week I talked about Toy Story 3. Now I'm talking about Toy Story 4. And next week I will be talking about Lightyear before Toy Story 5 comes out, of course. Toy Story 5, I might get some flack for this one. Uh, I am not excited for Toy Story 5. I'm kind of having a lot of the same feelings that people had going into Toy Story 4, but what I will say is I am ready to be proven wrong. Because I watched Toy Story 3 in the theater with, or not Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4 in the theater with family. And I said to them before we went into the movie, I just don't think there's any way this can be good. I was going with them because I like going to movies. I like seeing things, And if you're paying for my ticket, I'll go. I think a lot of us have that kind of thing where if a family member's inviting you to go do something, you'll go, even though you're hesitant, you don't really want to go, have, friends, whatever. Anyways, I went, and I left that movie pretty blown away by this movie. And that's where I think the hot take is, because this is like Pixar's most controversial movie. I think maybe Incredibles 2, but I think Incredibles 2 was only controversial when it first came out, but now it's like, I think everybody kind of agrees. Yeah, that movie was not great. But Toy Story 4, man, is one of the best examples of like a divisive Pixar movie, if there is one. I think every Pixar movie has its fans because Pixar movies are movies that are love them or hate them, except for maybe Cars 2 are even their sequels. There's a clear love and artistic integrity with all of them. I mean, there's some that you can tell are just sequels, cash grabs, even Finding Dory, but like Finding Dory, for example, has themes of like mental disabilities and things like that, and how we treat people and things like that. So that's gonna connect with somebody, right? So I think it's pretty easy to find Pixar movies. Obviously this movie's controversial because the way Toy Story 3 ended, and this movie didn't feel like it needed to exist. And I disagree. Where, yeah, I understand why you'd feel that if you watch Toy Story 3, but when you watch Toy Story 4, this movie's really emotional and powerful to me. The idea of making Woody realize he's just he's not Bonnie's favorite toy anymore. He's not really being played with, because why would Bonnie, I guess, be interested in a toy cowboy? And I feel like Buzz Lightyear is probably going to get phased out of this too, in Toy Story 5, because I mean, why would they play with them? You know what I'm saying? But Buzz Lightyear, has a little bit things going on with that. But Woody, just his journey of just realizing, like, I was just there for Andy. I mean, because he struggled even in the end of the movie going to Bonnie's with his friends. You could see the heartbreak on his face at the end of the movie in Toy Story 3. So it was kind of a unique story angle that I think really worked. And him trying to constantly rescue Forky no matter who gets hurt, because he needs to feel something and needs to be needed. And I thought that was a really unique angle, bringing Bo in the mix with that and how they go through all that. I also think this movie is gorgeously directed. The fucking cinematography and lighting effects are some of the most beautiful animation Pixar has ever done. Every time I watch this movie, there's some new detail that I've seen this movie, by the way, multiple times, and this movie is more beautiful every time. I think Key and Peele are great in this movie. As for flaws, I feel like there are lots of arguments you can make about why this movie's unnecessary. And honestly, there's some that I just can't fight. But to me, it felt like it had a point to it. Felt like it was saying something. So is it the most necessary movie to exist? Of course fucking not. But you know what? I love Beverly Hills Cop 2. There's no fucking reason for that movie to exist. But do I care? No. Because it's just a fun, good movie. That's the way I think about this. Except I would argue this movie's not as fun as Beverly Hills Cop 2. This is an emotional, sad movie. Um, Last thing I want to mention that I don't like about this movie. I don't like Buzz. He's garbage in this movie. Like, he doesn't do anything in this movie. There's a subplot about, like, listening to his internal voice and it being his voice box. I remember laughing at that at the beginning of the movie, but really every time I rewatched it since, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is just, what did they do to Buzz? It feels like since, Toy Story 3, they've kind of been pushing Buzz into a dumber angle. And I think maybe Pixar heard that criticism because it seems like they're going to give Buzz a lot to do in the next movie. But for right now, it just doesn't work. I don't really like it. Buzz is, deserved better treatment than that in this movie. I feel like, is Buzz goddamn Lightyear? You know what I'm saying? Anything else? I guess I don't really like the the Polly Pocket character. I get why she's there, right? Show that Bo had a friend. But she's a little, irritating, and she had a couple decent lines, but it did really feel like, what a non-character in this. But, Toy Story's always got to have some new toy. I did like the joke that she was into He-Man at one point. A He-Man toy. I thought that was funny. The little Polly Pocket like He-Man. But other than that, it's okay. So that's my thoughts on Toy Story 4. Love or hate it. I fucking love this movie. Fight me.